My name is Father Patrick van der Vorst and I work at Westminster Cathedral, and I also run a website called Christian.art where we look at the gospel reading of the day and pair it with an artwork every day. So today we talk about justice, a very, very big theme. And the word justice is a word that we hear so many times, in the right way or in the wrong way. But what I want to do before we start looking at our beautiful painting that was painted in 1871, I first want to tell a little story. A story of two trees who were standing in a sunny field. A very tall tree and then next to it a very small tree. And one day the tall tree talks to the small tree and says, "Well, why are you not growing? You should be as tall as me." And the small tree says to the tall tree, "I want to, but I never catch the sun because you always take all the sun and I always stand merely in your shadow." And then the tall tree sort of has a think about it and then starts to shed some of its branches and its leaves so that the sun can now also get to the smaller tree to make the small tree grow. And for me, that is what justice is. Justice is about enabling everyone to be able to grow and to be able to become their full potential. So the first question I have for you, also by looking at this painting, is what is justice for you? I explained what it is for me, but how would you define justice? Then the second thing, when you look at the painting, what is actually going on in this painting? It is, yes, a biblical passage, but can you identify what passage it is in the life of Jesus? And then thirdly, why do you think that this painting is a good painting to choose about our topic of justice? And do you think this is a painting illustrating like right justice or wrong justice? So just pause the video now, have a close look, and then when you're ready, we can discuss the answers together. Thank you. Okay, let's go through our three answers now. First question, what is actually depicted? What biblical story? And probably most of you were able to identify the scene as being Jesus being shown by Pontius Pilate through the crowds. And it comes from the gospel scripture where Pontius Pilate says, "Ecce Homo," behold the man, look at this man here next to me. And Jesus was just after being scourged and battered and being crowned with thorns. And Pontius Pilate, he wasn't all bad. He actually did not really want to condemn Jesus to death. And so one of the reasons why Pontius Pilate wants to show Jesus to the crowds was that the crowds would see Jesus bleeding and being covered in blood and bruises, and that the crowds would say, no, don't kill him. He's suffered enough now, that's it. But the crowds were cruel and they still said, "Crucify him, crucify him." But what's very unusual in our painting, as you can see, is that Jesus and Pontius Pilate are painted from the back. We don't see their faces. And so what we as a viewer, when we look at that painting, is that we are not part of the crowd. No, we look at Jesus and Pontius Pilate and then at the crowd in the distance. So it's a beautiful sort of angle for us to observe this scene from. Then the second question I had was, what is this chair doing there to the left of Pontius Pilate? And this chair, of course, he was a Roman governor, ruling the country of Judea, there in the Holy Land. And this chair was basically his sort of royal throne. But as you can see, there is an animal skin, a leopard skin, more in particular, that's thrown on top of this chair. And the leopard skin in the old Roman Empire was reserved for the high priests, the high pagan priests who did not believe in God, but who had all their Roman gods. And these pagan priests wore the animal skin, the leopard skin. And so you see that this leopard skin of the pagan gods is sitting next to Jesus, who is now the true God and the true high priest. And then the third question was, is this painting an illustration of the right justice or wrong justice? And I think we can hopefully all agree that this painting is a prime example of showing what wrong justice can do, condemning a truly innocent man. To come back to what justice is, that yes, what we see in our painting is just absolutely horrendous, what has happened. And it's a misuse of justice. It shows how justice can be manipulated sometimes for the wrong ends. But true justice, to come back to our story, true justice is always there to enable everyone, the most vulnerable in society, the poor, for all of them to also become the best versions of themselves and to thrive and to grow like that little tree so that they also can blossom for the glory of God. Thank you for watching.